Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all well. In this video, we're going to be focusing on the Stealth Suit version of Spider-Man, which is going to drop very shortly. But before the video gets underway, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button if you're indeed new to the channel. Thank you very much. But let's get this review underway. Right off the bat, you may be wondering why, as part of the content contributor program, by the way, we don't get to keep these champions. Why have we got a 5-star version, especially a rank 3 one, and 99 signature levels here? Well, the fact is, it is really positive and it does seem this is a good move. For those that have reached a certain type of level within the game, especially like Cavalier status, it gives a better showcase than we've done before, and it doesn't interrupt with things like prestige, and that's a big factor because it could really mess up some stuff with that. And as well, just general kind of tidiness. I like this, it's a good showcase, and I'm happy that Kabam have done this. The thing that may have caught your eye initially is the Prefight Ability. Yeah, this is the thing that sets out, compared with other Spider-Man suits. With starting out Spidey being that very huge damage dealer, this one has its own new thing. Both of them are different in so many ways. One's obviously a tech and this one is a skill. But I digress. Going down to the Prefight abilities, you've got Tranquilizer, Web, Foam and Flashbang. 3 different things for different usage. And in a nutshell, the first debuff is really good against power controlling. The second debuff is all about shutting down and kind of slowing down those enemies that do evades and really annoying things like that. And also the final thing is all about vulnerability. So that's all about increasing the damage output of Spider-Man. Similar thing to dash vulnerability when you're having that in dungeons or other content in the past that you've played. I've got to be honest, the most fun I had was with Flashbang, based on the fact that you can really mess about with trying to apply an L1, an L2, and then hitting through on that debuff means that you can put some amazing damage in. And the reason I did that, because off the L1, you do get this lovely little precision passive. If at the same time you've launched an SP2 at some point and you've picked yourself up the Fury buff, which comes from that Fury passive, it means that when the enemy has that vulnerability, you're putting in a stonking amount of damage, which is fun. At the end of the day, it's really fun. Now, a moment ago, I did mention the words Fury and Precision passives. This is really darn cool. You're able to control and pause those effects when you're evading, which is amazing. It doesn't mean you need to go back to spamming L1s and L2s in order to regain those particular positive effects. You can indeed look to use your spider sense, so your evading attacks, which was quite simple to do, especially against a lot of champions that fire projectiles. The kind of disappointing side of things, and the kind of thing that's a bit risky, is based on the first part of Spider Sense. So Spider-Man begins the fight with Spider Sense charge, granting him a passive 70% chance to evade incoming basic attacks when not blocking. I did try this a bit, but it is very much a risk. Who wants to stand still and just hope that you're not going to get hit? I think that's a bit too much of a risk factor, and it will be a case that you may be best to look towards just evading and intercepting rather than testing out this mechanic. 70% chance is not 100%, and the risk is that you'll take damage. But the champion seems to hold its own. It's just a case of like you don't want to take any bleed damage or something like that, because it's going to be really bad for your health. There's further good news for Spider-Man when he goes up against Sinister Six and Symbiote champions, because he gains a huge amount of critical rating. Also, not to mention the fact that with this being a rank 3 version, as well as only having a signature level 99, the Fury passive we mentioned earlier could go up quite a lot. Will it go up close to 60 by the end of 200 level signature? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But also you have to consider the fact that if you're running Suicide Masteries and say you had a 565 version, would you be hitting out a lot more damage? Obviously that would be yes. So do look at these stats and figures, and obviously there will be other YouTubers out there that will be presenting Suicide Mastery builds. I personally don't, especially with a lot of Alliance War seasons going on. It is difficult to run Suicide Masteries, and as well look at stuff like recoil and just how this functions in a defensive format. It's just not really something I personally like doing, but there will be others out there that will be running Suicide Masteries and giving that representation of huge damage outputs. My general thoughts towards this champion is that he is pretty darn solid. The way that he is structured as well is that he's not overly complicated, where a lot of champions that do get put out nowadays have this complexity to them that I'm just not really into. but the fact is we need that in order to interact with other different champions and nodes and things like that. But this guy does have his usage and does slightly differ from the other Spider-Man suits. This comes at a time where I'm not sure whether or not everybody wants more Spider-Man suits. I like the idea that we could see an Iron Spider based on one that's been teased very recently in a motion comic. Also, personally, my favorite one is Spider-Man 2099. That variant suit does look pretty cool. It could link in quite nicely with Punisher 2099 at a later date. And finally, to kind of get a bit of more diversity and also get more kind of symbiote suits kind of linking in, Gwenum's always been something that, since it's been a very fresh build, could be something, and a fresh kind of variant, a fresh comic book arc. Would have been nice to see that, but maybe that's something that is not on Kabam's agenda. The synergies help out a little bit as well. You got Stark internship, that is helpful. Spider-Man Men in Black, yeah, that's got a nice little nod to like Men in Black. I don't know if you've heard the song Will Smith Black Suits Coming, and I just think that's kind of quite clever in some cases, if anybody picked up on that one. But as well, like, my favorite is Culture Shock, based on increased potency of fury and precision effects that trigger while Spider Sense is active by 15%. I think that's really helpful. That's going to be great for that damage output. And Bad for Business, striking an envenerated opponent deals 10% of the damage dealt as energy damage. Again, helpful, but it depends what kind of Prefight ability you're rocking. That could be the downside. If you're using this as your sole champion to use, then you may feel that you want to diversify the champions you bring in, rather than going, right, well, I need to bring all of or some of these, because let's face it, it may be between battles you want to change the Prefight ability, which is not going to work too well if you've only brought in Electro as in your synergy booster for this one. But mainly you should have already brought in the Vulture or any of the Spider suits in order to improve things for your grind. Either way, I found the champion enjoyable. It's not really the one that we thought we were going to get, but it seems logical that we would get that because it seems to be, well, a movie-based character. It would be nice to see some other Spider-Verse champions as well. I do like the slight nods to a degree from the film for the Spider-Man Noir, which, if you're familiar with Into the Spider-Verse, then you're welcome to that character more in the big screen, and got that kind of decent portrayal by Nicolas Cage, which is pretty cool. But the fact is, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the champion. Damage output wise, it's clean, it's tidy, it's nice. It's a very simple character to utilize and use. I love the pre-fight ability for this, the pick and choose of different things. So if you're going against a different fight, then you can pick and choose against this wisely. Felt that the synergies were a bit restrictive, especially if you're going into a big fight or kind of the big end game stuff like Labyrinth of Legends and your Realm of Legends, because let's face it, you want to choose a lot more various champions at damage output, power control, things that even reverse heal, you know, those stuff that allows you to diversify who you use. I think it's to be great for questing, and you may look to rock the synergies that have been represented for this champion, or you may just use the champion singularly and then go, right, well, I'm still damage outputting a good amount, but it's still nice to have him in the team. So there we have it. That is Stealth Suit Spidey. What are your thoughts? Have them in the comment section down below. Do you think you'll be grinding out for this character? Will you not? What are your just general thoughts? Do you like some things? Do you not like these things? Are you overrun with Spider-Verse Spidey suits? What are your thoughts? Have them in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more Marvel Contest to Champions based content. And as always, I shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.